Hey everybody, thanks for clicking or tapping on this video. I'm back in my hometown of Hammond, and I figured I had to come show you the possible future site of the Chicago Bears home stadium. So here we are, we're on the shores of Wolf Lake. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of where the Bears might be playing in a few years. How crazy is that? Hammond, Indiana. It is a very gray and windy day out here in Northwest Indiana. Pretty much a typical late winter, early spring day. As we walk towards Wolf Lake. There's the concert stage for the Festival of the Lakes. When that was built, that was touted as a big redevelopment. It's only been there for about 15 years. So they'll probably get rid of that, I would think. And in the background, you see that big building right there. That is the clubhouse and the restaurant and banquet facilities for the Lost Marsh golf course. Beautiful golf course. I remember when I was still living here, I was in high school and they turned that whole, it was a slag heap from the steel mills. It was a brownfield site, cleaned it up, beautiful environment, but is that gonna stay? Is that gonna have to go for parking? So when you think about all the room that they're gonna need for a giant stadium and giant parking garages, is there really enough room here? They have to construct new roads in and out because their existing infrastructure, there's no way that's capable of handling 60, 70, 80,000 people. No way. There's less than 80,000 people here in Hammond, the entire city. It's not to say there's not space. There is. There's all these empty parking lots. For those of you who grew up in Hammond, you may remember coming to August Fest. That would have been over here before this was redeveloped. It was really a nothing area. Everything that's here, this light up sign, the roads, the roundabout, street lights, landscaping, this is all relatively new within the past 15 years, 10 years for a lot of it. Oh, that wind, man. Whew. Then out there in the distance, you can see the BP, Amoco, Standard Oil, depending on how old you are, refinery. There was an article in the Times this morning about how the stadium site is industrial and will have some strong odors. And when I read that, I'm like, well, duh. Anybody who's been here for more than a week could tell you that. This is a connecting spot for all the trails. They've tried to make Hammond into a very, very bike-friendly city the past decade or so. They've done a pretty good job. The question is, how will you keep all of this? Or how much of this will you keep? If you want to host 80,000 people here, there's the big stage for Festival of the Lakes. I don't know, I cannot see them keeping that. And you might think it's not much to look at, but 20 years, 25 years ago, when I was growing up here, it was worse. This was all just industry. It was trucking companies. Ron Wall Trucking, I remember, had a business there. Calumet Pallet Company. He would have 20-foot high stacks of just wooden pallets. So believe me when I tell you, how it looks now, it's a 100% improvement from how it used to look. Calumet Avenue, US 41. That would be the main road into Hammond from Chicago. Not counting the toll road, of course. Definitely some positive goose habitat. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this little tour of the Wolf Lake area, which could one day be the site of the Chicago Bears home stadium, even though, like most people, I think it's probably just a bargaining chip to get a better deal to stay in Illinois. But anyway, if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you'd like your very own Hammond Bears shirt or hat or magnets or pins or stickers, head over to my TeePublic shop that is linked in the description of this video. I'm about to drop my phone because my hand's getting wet because it's raining. Thanks for joining me today on the shores of Wolf Lake in Hammond, Indiana, possibly the future site of the home of the Chicago Bears. Bear down. Dover Chemical, formerly Kyle Chemical, been here forever. They're right in the diagram of where the stadium would be, so. Roundabout like this. It would be just traffic gridlock everywhere. Doesn't look like much in the winter, but Lost Marsh is beautiful.
The day after I filmed that video, the weather did a complete 180, so in the interest of getting better looking shots, I attempted to recreate the video from memory. I did not plan on publishing both versions, but they're both a little different and add unique elements to the story, although I think I prefer the first one better. So here's version 2.
Hey there, thanks for clicking or tapping on this video. I'm back here in my hometown, Hammond, Indiana. One of the things I had to do while I was here today is give you an exclusive tour of what could be the future home of the Chicago Bears, right here in Hammond, Indiana. So we're here at Wolf Lake today. We're going to check out where the Bears might be playing in a few years. So there's Wolf Lake right there. It's about 60 degrees, sunny, but a very brisk wind. Pretty typical late winter, early spring day in Northwest Indiana. Pretty typical late winter, early spring day in Northwest Indiana. And just to show you how close we are to the city of Chicago, back left center there is the Sears/Willis Tower. Just across the border. So if it's been a while since you've been to Hammond, you may not recognize this. This is Sheffield. They tore down all the old trucking companies. Remember Ron Wall Trucking used to be there. Calumet Pallet Company used to have stacks at least 20 feet high of wooden pallets. And they did all this landscaping, turned Sheffield into a couple roundabouts. And all of this is relatively new. It happened within, I think, the past 15 years, maybe 10 years. These are just empty parking lots, usually only full for the Festival of the Lakes. If you grew up in Hammond, you might remember August Fest. That used to take place right around this area here. There was an article in the Times a couple days ago about how the stadium would be the site of many factory odors, and it's kind of like, well, duh, it's an industrial area. Over there, that would be east of here, is the Standard Oil, Amoco, BP, depending on your generation, refinery. Responsible for some of the smells of this area. That is right on the other side of US 41 is the Lost Marsh golf course. That used to be just a giant slag dump, a brownfield site. Cleaned it up about maybe 25 years ago. A beautiful golf course, new Marsh pond area, clubhouse, banquet center, restaurant. That's what that big building is right there. But if the Bears come here, that's all gonna go. Has to. There's definitely not enough room over here for 60, 80,000 seat stadium and all the parking that goes into it and all the other logistical things, rerouting streets. There is the PAV, the pavilion at Wolf Lake. It's the centerpiece of the Festival of the Lakes. That's where all the bands perform. Seen some really great shows here. But if the Bears come here, that's a goner. I think when we first started coming to Festival of the Lakes, I think the stage was right there. And then they built this one about 2010. So again, it's only been about 15, 16 years. A lot of the bike trails converge here. But you gotta wonder if this is gonna be a football stadium, how are you gonna be able to keep this a bike path? I don't know. And then where Clark High School's track used to be, they're building a brand new subdivision, which would literally be a stone's throw away from a giant football stadium and probably concert venue. Like, aside from the wind, it's incredibly peaceful and quiet out here right now. But you could imagine on game day, regular traffic, tailgating traffic. This would be basically where the new stadium would sit, right on the shore of Wolf Lake. But it will be a logistical nightmare. The city of Hammond, I mean the entire city of Hammond, has only 80,000 residents. And you're going to have basically that number of people here 8 Sundays out of the year. Well, thanks for joining me on this little journey to what could be the future site of the Chicago Bears home stadium, but if you're like most of us, I think we're just being used as a bargaining chip. They don't want to come across the state line, and frankly, I don't think a lot of people here want them. But if you want to get your Hammond Bears shirt, check out my TeePublic store. The link is in this video. And regardless of where they play, go Bears!